My husband and I arrived at the apartment just as the sun began to dip, casting long shadows across the street. The building looked ordinary from the outside, but the moment we stepped in, there was something that didn't sit right with me. I kept quiet, pretending to admire the worn wooden floors and the high ceilings, but my instincts were sharp, whispering warnings I couldn't yet name. The owner, a foreign man with a polite smile, led us through the rooms. His accent was soft, almost comforting, but his eyes, there was a flicker of something guarded behind them. I noticed the way he lingered near certain corners, the subtle way he glanced at me more than at my husband. I pushed the thought aside, telling myself it was just imagination, nerves, the way we all read into strangers when money and opportunity were involved. As we reached the balcony, the city lights beginning to glow below, he paused, hands clasped behind his back. "It's rare to find someone who appreciates this view," he said, voice low. I nodded politely, heart beating faster than it should. Something about the way he said it felt rehearsed, like a line delivered for someone who wasn't entirely present. Back inside, the rooms felt smaller than I remembered from the brochure. And yet, I couldn't stop noticing the way he moved, the subtle way he watched me, the way his smile lingered a beat too long. I looked at my husband, waiting for him to notice, but he was absorbed in the kitchen, examining the cabinets. I stayed quiet, letting my unease simmer, holding it close like a secret I couldn't yet name. And then it happened. In the hallway behind the closed door of what should have been the guest bedroom, I heard it, a faint, almost imperceptible sound, a whisper carried on the draft. I froze, every instinct screaming. My husband didn't hear it. The man's eyes met mine for a fraction of a second longer than polite, and I realized I wasn't supposed to hear that. I kept my expression neutral, pretending to inspect the bathroom while my mind raced. The whisper had been too deliberate, too intentional to be accidental. Something about the apartment felt off, like it carried secrets hidden in the walls. I wondered if I was overreacting, letting imagination twist ordinary sounds into danger. But deep down I knew better. The owner returned, his smile unchanged, but there was a tension in the air now that hadn't been there before. "Would you like to see the master bedroom?" he asked, leading the way. I followed silently, keeping my distance from my husband, who was still absorbed in measuring the living room. Every step felt heavier than the last, every glance from the man calculated. He spoke in polite sentences, but I noticed the pauses, the moments when his words didn't quite match his eyes. Inside the bedroom, I caught sight of a small, unmarked envelope tucked between the curtains. My fingers itched to reach for it, but I held back, unsure what I would find. My husband wandered over, distracted by the closet space, and I realized I had to act carefully. Every move I made would be observed, noted, catalogued. Then the whisper came again, louder this time, unmistakable. Someone, or something, was in the apartment that we weren't supposed to notice. I felt the hairs on my arms rise. The man's gaze flickered toward the corner, a flash of recognition or warning crossing his face for just a second. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. My husband had no idea. I took a deep breath, letting the calm cover the panic threatening to break through. I had to find out what he was hiding, what secrets this apartment held. And I knew instinctively that the answer would change everything, not just about this visit, but about the person standing beside me, smiling, acting as if nothing were wrong. As we prepared to leave, I lingered near the doorway, pretending to admire the hallway. The envelope still called to me, but I knew I couldn't act recklessly, not yet. My husband chatted casually with the man, unaware of the tension that had wrapped itself around me like a shadow. The foreign owner walked us to the exit, smiling warmly, but there was a cold edge hidden in his eyes, something I couldn't ignore. My instincts screamed that this apartment was more than just property, it was a trap, a puzzle with pieces we weren't meant to see. I kept quiet, nodded politely, and followed my husband into the street, forcing my heartbeat to slow. Once we were outside, I let the calm mask my racing thoughts. I hadn't spoken a word, yet I had learned everything I needed to know. The whisper, the envelope, the glances, they were all clues. I knew I would return alone this time, to uncover what had been hidden. And when I did, everything would be revealed. The truth of the apartment, the intentions of the man behind the polite smile, and the secrets that had been kept from us both. For now, I walked beside my husband, silent, patient, and certain. Because sometimes the quietest steps reveal the loudest truths.